What is up, Mexico? My name is Carl Ncube, and I am the biggest Zimbabwean stand-up comedian in the world. Thank you. So I come from Africa, and I think Africa needs to tell its own stories before someone else does. And I'll tell you why. Stand-up comedy has taken me, a Zimbabwean stand-up comedian, to over 37 places around the world. Thank you. "36 of those places are in Zimbabwe, but all I'm trying to say is that what I've noticed when I've traveled to certain countries, when they hear I'm a comedian from Africa, all they think about is they think we live in grass huts. We walk around naked, surrounded by animals, running towards the sun, singing songs like Nansi ngwenyama bakithi baba, sithi ngwenyama." Which is true. I mean, we are great singers. But the thing is, right? The thing is, everybody loves that opening of The Lion King, right? They love the opening of The Lion King, but they don't understand the lyrics. Does anyone know what they're singing? When they're singing, "Nansi ngwenyama bakithi baba, sithi ngwenyama." Do you know what they're singing? Allow me to translate. "There's a lion, oh my gosh, daddy." We say, there's a lion, there's a lion, we freaking get it, it's a lion, okay? That's all. Like, people love it. Like, all of my white friends come to me and they say, "Carl, I love The Lion King, especially that second verse. Can you sing it for me? I love it every time I go to yoga when they sing, "Ingwenyama lengwenye na mabala." You love that part. "Ingwenyama lengwenye na mabala." But you don't understand what they're singing. There's a lion with a lion-looking thing with spots. There's a lion with a lion-looking thing with spots. There's a lion with a lion. It's a freaking leopard, okay? Like, come on. We have a name for a leopard in my language. Come on, Walt Disney. And this is the problem. Everybody else is telling the African story, right? Because people love The Lion King. Everybody loves Mufasa. Show of hands. Tell me, who loves Mufasa in this room? Everybody loves Mufasa, but people don't know the truth that Mufasa is a freaking dictator, okay? Mufasa has been running the Pride Lands for so many years, and he won't let any power to his brother Scar, who obviously knows exactly how to run that kingdom. He's got most of the experience. He even has the support of the hyenas. He's the true revolutionary. And here Mufasa wants to hand over an entire kingdom to his little snotty-nosed son, little Simba, who doesn't care anything about what's going on in his country. All he thinks about is like, "Oh, Daddy, what do we own?" And he's like, "Everything that the light touches belongs to us." Simba doesn't care. All Simba wants to do, he doesn't care about running this kingdom in Africa. He wants to run off and go to Europe to live with the gay couple, Timon and Pumbaa, and forget about all of his roots. Now he's straightening his hair, he's lightening his skin, he's singing, he's even a vegetarian. He's changing everything in his African culture to just appease the people in the West. Meanwhile, Scar, the true revolutionary, who's got the support of the hyenas, and I know what you guys are thinking, what about the zebras that support Mufasa? That is voter suppression. How have you ever seen a zebra happy that another lion has been born? This makes no sense at all. He's been rigging elections for years, and Scar is the true person with the true support. And even when Simba goes away, Scar can't even grow anything in his land because Monsanto has pulled out all of their funding, and now he can't grow anything. It's just a desert, and now he can't grow anything. And Simba, meanwhile, comes and he removes a democratically elected leader like Scar, right? And then all of a sudden, now grass is growing all over the place, and yet all of us know that the true revolutionary, the true Che Guevara is Scar, is all I'm saying. The reason why we don't tell our own stories in Africa is sometimes we're afraid. I come from a country called Zimbabwe, and nobody knows anything about Zimbabwe except Robert Mugabe. That's all they know. Robert Mugabe was the president of Zimbabwe for 37 years. Imagine he was removed from power when I was 38. I only had 1 year of freedom under this dictator, okay? All I'm saying is that in that time, everything focused on Robert Mugabe. Everything, including the news. Like, I was afraid to make jokes about Robert Mugabe. I wasn't like American comedians who can make money making fun of their president. And they're having lots of fun, by the way, right? They're making lots of money making fun of their president. I couldn't do the same thing. And it's very simple. American comics can make fun of their president because America has over 15 flights leaving the country every day, right? If I made fun of my president, I'm not even sure if our airline is flying out of New Mexico this week. I'll probably stuck at the airport with some douchebag from our embassy hitting me under my feet saying, "What were you saying about our supreme leader?" And even then, right? And even then, I started getting president envy. You start looking at presidents from other countries. You even envy America. You look at on the news when they talk about Donald Trump, right? Because our president was 97 years old. Do you understand this? 97 years old. And so you look at other presidents on the news, they say, look at Donald Trump walking into Air Force One. Look at Vladimir Putin sitting on top of a bear without his shirt on. Do you know what they used to say about our president on the news? Yes, he's walking. He's still walking. Whoops, oh, sorry, he's still walking like that. Our president, right, was talked about on the news. They could spend an hour talking about Robert Mugabe on the news. No one would care about me as a Zimbabwean comedian. Imagine what, okay, you guys can't relate. This is how our news would start in Zimbabwe. Welcome to the news at 8. My name is Hugo Rubatika. In our top story, the head of state and government and commander-in-chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, President Robert Gabriel Mugabe, yesterday castigated the Western imperialists for their terrorist attack against Zimbabwe. Let's find out more from our chief political correspondent in the field, Ruben Barwe. The head of state and government and commander-in-chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, President Robert Gabriel Mugabe, yesterday castigated the Western imperialists for their terrorist attack against Zimbabwe. Let's find out more from the president. I hereby castigate the Western imperialists for their terrorist attack against Zimbabwe. And that was the head of state and government, the commander-in-chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, President Robert Gabriel Mugabe, castigating the Western imperialists for their terrorist attack against Zimbabwe. Ruben Barwe, ZBC News, Harare. And just in case you're joining us, here's our top story. The head of state and government and commander-in-chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, President Robert Gabriel Mugabe, castigated the Western imperialists for their terrorist attack against Zimbabwe. Let's move over quickly to sports news with Spencer Banda. Spencer, are you there? Thank you so much, Hugo Rubatika. Thank you. By the way, that was a great story there of the head of state and government and commander-in-chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, President Robert Gabriel Mugabe, castigating those Western imperialists for their terrorist attack against Zimbabwe. Unfortunately, we've run out of time for sports news. My name is Spencer Band. It was impossible to be famous in Zimbabwe. This is what I'm trying to say. It was so bad, I even tried to start my own cooking show. My own cooking show, right? But the other reason is because I was kind of sick and tired of watching cable TV and seeing Jamie Oliver cooking with ingredients you can't find in Zimbabwe, right? Do you know how annoying it is when you've paid for cable TV and you're sitting at home and you want to cook along with Jamie Oliver? You know Jamie Oliver's on TV and you're sitting at home and Jamie Oliver always says some stupid stuff like, welcome to our cooking show. What we're going to do is we're going to cook with some nice, easy ingredients, stuff you can find in any country from around the world. You're going to love this. What we're going to start off with is something easy, like a nice, juicy bit of salmon. Rice. And then what we want to do is we're going to chop up some dill. We're going to sprinkle it all over our salmon. Salt. And then just to bring out those wonderful flavors, what we want to bring out is something nice and easy you can get, like some baby asparagus. Let's put some baby asparagus all over our salmon. Salt. And what we want to do is a nice, easy step. What we're going to do is we're going to put the salmon into an oven that's been preheated at 180 degrees. That is 180 degrees. It's hard to tell African stories because we can't have cooking shows. We can't even do travel shows. Because in Africa, people don't believe in tourism. There's so much money coming into Africa talking about poverty and sickness and disease. We're so afraid in Africa. Even our billboards, like I traveled to America. The billboards in America, welcome to Orlando, home of the Orlando Magic. See Mickey Mouse at Disney World. The first billboard that you see coming out of the airport in Zimbabwe is AIDS kills. Or get circumcised. Like, why on earth does a tourist need to get circumcised before seeing Victoria Falls? This makes no sense. It's made our people so afraid to tell their own stories. Even our businesses in Zimbabwe are named after verses in the Bible. How scared do you have to be that you'd have a business called In His Hands Beauty Salon? Or In God We Trust Electronics? Or they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength? Fried chicken. Like, it makes no sense. And so we're so afraid to tell our own story in Africa. Like, I once performed for Robert Mugabe. And you know what people think? It must have been a scary experience, but it wasn't. Like his security people, they came to my house. They were really nice. They knocked down my door, tied me up, whatever. But they really were nice. And they came to me and they said, Carl, we believe in your talent. But before you perform before the president, we're big fans of yours. But please, do not make fun of the president. Don't make fun of the first lady. Don't make fun of the first family. In fact, don't make fun of any of the ministers. Please, whatever you do, we've got national dignitaries from other countries. Please don't make fun of any nationalities. Please don't bring up race. Please don't talk about our history. Don't talk about colonization. Please do not bring up anything to do with service delivery issues. Don't talk about potholes. Don't talk about water. Don't talk about the sewage system. But Carl, we believe in you. Do you know how difficult it is just to tell our story in Zimbabwe? This is the biggest problem that we have. Like, I've traveled to so many different countries, right? And it's so nice to be here in Mexico legally. And and it's incredible because coming from a country like Zimbabwe, one of the things that I'm trying to do, right, is I'm trying to see how I can create 5,200 hours of content that I can put online of true African stories. So people don't come to Africa and think the most popular countries in Africa are Wakanda and Kuvukiland or whatever it is. There's a little country called Zimbabwe with a Zimbabwean comedian like Carl. For example, you guys don't understand the power of narrative. It is so important. Like, I Googled Mexican weather girls, right? And there were the most amazing images that made me want to come to Mexico. Like, I was watching the weather report. I couldn't even understand a word of Spanish. But all I knew is that I just wanted to have tacos. I wanted to have tequilas. It was such an amazing thing. It's not like the weather report in Zimbabwe where they say, welcome to the weather report. Today we had nice, clear, sunny skies in Harare where the head of state and government and commander-in-chief of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, President Robert Gabriel Mugabe, castigated the Western imperialists for their terrorist attack against Zimbabwe. Thank you so much, Puebla. You guys have been an excellent audience. My name is Carl Ncube. Good night.